Hopefully, we all remember Marco Muzzo. He's that self-entitled Richie Rich drunkard who was recently sentenced to 10 years for killing 3 children and their grandfather. Apparently, those members of the Neville Lake family got in the way of Muzzo's speeding Jeep, and Muzzo's blood alcohol level was more than twice the legal limit. The end result was stomach-churning carnage. Yet, in light of this creep's atrocity, I thought the underlying message moving forward was that the courts were going to get increasingly tough on impaired drivers. But is that really so? Consider the case of how one allegedly drunk driver was recently given a get-out-of-jail-free card by a judge thanks to his feelings being hurt. You see, an Ontario judge dismissed charges against Sardul Singh, a Sikh man who was found to be driving with an excessive blood alcohol level. She dismissed the charges because it took more than 3 hours for police to return Singh's turban. 3 hours? Oh, the humanity. Here's what happened. Singh was arrested by Peel Regional Police during a roadside spot check. As he was placed into the back of a police cruiser, his turban inadvertently fell off. An officer tried to put it back on immediately, but couldn't get it to fit. So it was that the turban wasn't returned to Singh until about 3 hours later, by which time he had been booked at the police station and ordered to provide a breath sample. But later on in court, Singh argued that his charter right to freedom of religion had been violated. He said he felt shameful to be seen without his turban. Now, while the Crown conceded that this was indeed a charter breach, the Crown also argued, rightly in my view, that there was no causal connection between that charter breach and the obtaining of the breath sample. But in her decision, Ontario Judge Jill Copeland said the harm done to Singh was significant, and she believed Singh indeed felt vulnerable without his turban. It was also noted that since 2012, the Peel Regional Police Service has followed a policy that states turbans can be removed for searches, but must be returned after the search is done unless the prisoner is suicidal. Even so, the judge allowing Singh to get off scot-free is disturbing. First of all, Singh never actually asked for his turban to be returned. Now, one would think if someone was feeling vulnerable and humiliated because he was deprived of his turban, then he'd at least ask for the return of said turban. But he didn't, not once. So why do I get the feeling this whole vulnerable and humiliated shtick was cooked up by a savvy defense lawyer seeking to take advantage of a legalistic loophole? Secondly, for the sake of argument, let's just buy into the fact that the officers acted in a careless manner with regard to Singh's religion. Let's even accept that a Sikh being separated from his turban is an all-out charter violation. Fine. But why should Singh, who is allegedly as drunk as a proverbial skunk, get off automatically? Shouldn't the arresting police officers be punished by, say, way of suspension? Wouldn't that solve 2 issues here, i.e. Singh would pay a price for impaired driving, if found guilty, of course, while Peel Region Police would be sent a message that they must be more careful with respect to turban-wearing suspects in the future. Apparently, that's just too logical. Instead, we get Judge Copeland saying that the admission of Singh's breath sample evidence would, quote, bring the administration of justice into disrepute, end quote. Disrepute? Really, Judge? Just because Singh was deprived of his turban for 3 hours? Well, what's done is done. Moving forward, let's all hope that Mr. Singh has learned his lesson and he remains sober behind the wheel of his truck. Because if he doesn't and he ends up causing a Marco Muzzo-style atrocity in the future, he'll surely be the one at fault. But I'd also say that there's a certain someone sitting on the bench who could be considered an accessory after the fact. For the Rebel.media, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies.
Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of the Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.